What's up, people? I'm back! Alright, today we're going to be talking about another way to do the graphing. Today we're going to talk about graphing with the Slope-Intercept Form. Okay, so before we do that, just got a couple little things to review with you, just to make sure we remember all this. So we got, of course, these type of little lines. We got this one, and we got this one, and we got this one, and finally we got this one. So real fast, let's just review what type of slope each one of these lines would have if you described it. What type is this? Hopefully you say positive. What type is this? Hopefully you say negative. What type is this? Hopefully you say 0. And of course the vertical line would have what type of slope? Hopefully you say undefined. Alright, so we got positive, negative, 0, undefined slope. Those are the ways you would describe them. We also have been talking about the slope formula. And let's just review that real fast. And what is the letter for slope? Hopefully you know it's M. Okay, M equals what? And we're going to do the rise over the run. So what's the part to get the rise? That would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus the x1. Again, of course, they call that the rise over the run. Rise over run. So hopefully you got all that in your back pocket and you feel good about it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to graph with the Slope-Intercept Form. Alright, we hold off on that song for a little bit. Maybe you might know that song, maybe you can send it to me later. Let's worry about the Slope-Intercept Form at the moment. Okay, so in Slope-Intercept Form, we're going to talk about some of these that you have already used. Okay, some of these are from the paper that we had the other day, so we're just going to talk about one of these to start with. So let's just use this one. We're going to do y equals negative 2x plus 3, and we'll start there. Okay, so y equals negative 2x plus 3. All right, and when we're talking about this equation, of course this is in Slope-Intercept Form, which is in y equals mx plus b format. Okay, so we know the m here is the number in front of the x, so our slope here is negative 2. And since the negative 2 is a whole number, we're going to put that over 1. And that would mean, of course, if you're doing the rise and run, the 2, if you're going negative 2, would be a down 2. And the 1 on the run part would be a right. So we're going to go down 2 and right 1. Now the question is, where do I start doing the down 2 and the right 1? Okay, so up to this point, of course, you guys have been doing the tables where I've had you put in the numbers and do the stuff, and it looks like this, where you got the numbers and you put the work in and you get the X, Y, and everything and you graph it. Okay, so today I'm going to show you a different version of how to do it. Okay, no table necessary. I know some of you are shouting hooray as I speak. All right, so right here, this is the B. Okay, so the B for this, you can see, is a plus 3 or a positive 3. This is known as the y-intercept. Okay, so this part over here, of course, is the slope, because M stands for slope. This part here is the y-intercept, and this is where you will begin the graph. Okay, so you can think about B stand for begin. So if you're on the y-intercept, of course, that means you're on the y-axis. That's the one that runs up and down, of course, right? So that means you're actually going to begin it at 0. The starting place will be
to get this graph started. Alright, let's come over here and check it out and see what we look like. Alright, so I'm going to make a little 4-quadrant graph over here, like so. So you have to begin at the B. So my B, or my y-intercept, is 0, 3. So of course it's going to be on the y-axis, on the y-intercept. So I just go up 1, 2, 3. That would be up to positive 3. That is my beginning place, so I got that at 0, 3. Then I'm just going to do this a couple times over here using my slope and figure out what the line is going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to go down 2 and right 1 a few times over here. So down 2 and right 1, down 2 and right 1, down 2 and right 1. Of course, you could also do the opposite of that if you wanted to. If you needed to, you could go up 2 and left 1, which would be the same thing. So up 2 and left 1, I'll just do one of those. Alright, so now I have all my points right there. You can see they are making a nice linear graph.
Hook all of them together. What type of slope does that have? Well, if we go back to the top up here, we can see that it's negative slope. So of course we would say, hey, that looks like that. So this has got negative slope. Again, the reason you also know this has got negative slope is because one of the numbers in the slope is negative right there. All right, and we can just go through and say, you know, we already knew that it was supposed to be down 2 and right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. They all hook up together, and we're good to go. So that is how you would graph that, only using the slope and the y-intercept, okay? And again, that is why it is called Slope-Intercept Form. Okay, so we use the slope, which is the m, the y-intercept is the b, and that's where we started. All right, so there's one of them. Hopefully that helps. Let's take a look at another one. All right, so this time I'm going to give you one that's a little bit different, that's not on the page that we hadn't really looked at, just to make it a little more complicated and cover another base. So let's say we had y equals 3/4 x minus 4. Okay, so again, this is in slope-intercept form. Okay, so we got the slope here, we got the intercept here. So I'm going to circle this part right here. Okay, this is the m. Now this time this has a negative sign with it right here, the subtract sign, and that is the b. All right, so my m is 3/4. Again, if you're talking about rise and run, that is going to be a rise up of 3 going up, and then the run is 4 to the right. So we're going to go up and right. Now the question is, where do I start doing the up and right? Okay, so that part is the slope. The part where I begin doing that here is at my b is -4. So that means I'm going to start at 0, -4, and again this is the y-intercept. So this happens on the y-axis. Okay, so now that's the only two things I need. I can come over here and make my graph. I don't have to make the table, put all those numbers in. I can just do it with these two items only. I know you are excited to hear that. All right, so again, you must begin here. Okay, this is where you start. The B is where you begin. Begin the graph at B. Begin the graph at B. So here it's telling me to start at -4. So I come down 1, 2, 3. -4 is down here. All right, and then I'll use my slope number to make a few points here. So I'm going to go up 3 and right 4. So up 1, 2, 3, and right 1, 2, 3, 4. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, and right 1, 2. Oh, I can't fit another one on there. So I'm going to have to go the other way just to have another one. See if I can go down 3 and left 4. Down 1, 2, 3, and left 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing, going down and left. Same thing as going up and right. Hook those little jokers together, and you can see it is going to look something like that. There's my beginning point. That's up 3 and right 3, and then I did the same thing, which is just the opposite. Down 3 and left 3 is the same. What type of slope does that have? Well, if you go back up to the top up here, we can see, of course, this had positive slope, and of course this one does have positive slope. And we know that because my m is 3/4. The 3 is a positive number. The 4 is a positive number. Okay? So that one's got positive slope. Okay. Now, you take a look at that. I got a joke for you. Hold on, let me go over here and grab it. All right. Let me get it out. Let's see. You ready? Here's today's riddle. If you want extra credit, you've watched it up to the 9-minute mark. Let me just go ahead and thank you very much for watching. All right, so here is the riddle for today. What grows shorter as it lives longer? What grows shorter as it lives longer? Good question, right? So if you know what grows shorter as it lives longer, don't forget to email me your answer for some extra credit. I appreciate you people that do. Thank you very much. All right, let's do one more together, and I believe that will be about enough time on this. Again, get the slope and the y-intercept, and you're good to go. All right, let's try one. Here's number 5. All right, so let's say this time we'll pick another one off this sheet that you guys had. So let's go down here, and let's do this one. Y equals -2/3 x plus 1. Okay? Y equals -2/3 x plus 1. Okay, so again, that is in slope-intercept form. Okay, this is the m, This is the B. You can see with that there is a plus sign, so that is going to be a positive. So we'll talk about that in a second. So the M is 2/3, but that is a negative in front of that, right? Don't forget the negative. So if that is a negative 2/3, what is the negative 2 telling me to do? Well, that is telling me to go which way? Down. Alright, and the 3 is positive, so that of course will be my run number, and that means right. So we're going to go down 2 and right 3, and down 2 and right 3. The place is we just got to figure out where to start that business of going down 2 and right 3, and right there, the B is positive 1, so that means I am going to go to 0, 1, which of course is my y-intercept, and I am going to begin there. Begin the graph at B. Begin the graph at B. So here we go. We're going to come over here. We're going to draw some little 4-quadrant graphy, just like so. Pull it back up a little bit more so you can see it a little better. All right. So I begin at 0, 1. 0, 1 is right here. Okay. Just come up to 1. And I'm going to use my slope numbers to make my line. So I'm going to go down and right. Down 2 and right 3. Make a point. Down 2, right 3. Make a point. If you want to go up, you can do the same thing. You could go up and also have to go left, right? So I go up 2 and left 3. If you want to do that, just to have another one. Okay, can you see all that? Now you can. So now I'm going to hook all these together. Let's see how straight a line I can draw by hand. All right, what type of slope does that line have? Well, you should know from earlier, of course, we said that if they've got that kind of slope, it's negative slope. And we also know it is negative slope because one of my numbers here in my slope number was a negative. All right. So we have reviewed the number of things. We have talked about how to do this with just graphing with just the slope and the y-intercept. But you should also know, people, how to do it with the table. Okay, I know how to do it with the table. We should also know the different types of slope that we have talked about. Positive, undefined, negative, 0. We also reviewed the slope formula. Rise and run. To get the rise, you do y2 minus y1. To do the run, you do x2 minus x1. And of course, don't forget, don't be a dope. M is the slope. And now you also know the big E tells you that is where to go on the y-axis to do the y-intercept. Okay. Hopefully that helps you out with all this stuff. If you know the answer to what I had earlier, please send me that. If you know the name of the song and the artist who sings it, feel free to send me that too for a little extra credit, okay? Hope you're doing good with all this stuff, and email me any questions you might have. All right, hope you enjoyed today's graphing with Slope-Intercept Form, and until next time, people, sayonara till tomorrow. Ha. Peace!